Do Super-Agers hold hidden genetic secrets? Imagine reaching the age of 100. Not frail, not dependent, not lost in the fog of dementia, but instead walking with confidence, remembering the faces of your grandchildren with clarity, and even cracking jokes as though you were 50 years younger. For most of us, that sounds like a miracle. We've been conditioned to believe that aging inevitably means decline, weaker bones, slower minds, fragile hearts. But what if that assumption is wrong? What if hidden within the double helix of our DNA lies a secret code that allows some extraordinary individuals, known as Super-Agers, to live not only longer lives but better ones? For decades, scientists have puzzled over this remarkable phenomenon. Why do some people seem to defy the normal rules of biology? Is it purely luck, a combination of healthy living and fortunate circumstance, or is it something far more profound? Could the key to exceptional longevity already be written into our genes, waiting for science to decode it? This journey takes us into the lives of Super-Agers, those rare individuals who manage to compress the diseases of aging into the very last years of life, avoiding the long period of decline that most people endure. Their resilience offers not only inspiration but also a glimpse into the future of human health. If we can unlock their genetic secrets, perhaps we could all live healthier, longer, and more fulfilling lives. The mystery of Super-Agers. The term Super-Ager has become a popular phrase in medical research circles. It describes people, often over 80 or 90 years old, whose mental or physical performance rivals that of individuals decades younger. They don't just survive, they thrive. Consider the centenarians of Okinawa, Japan, who dance, garden, and laugh well into their 100s. Or the resilient elderly in Sardinia, Italy, where men in particular live unusually long and vigorous lives. Across the world, these populations seem to share something extraordinary. They are outliers on the bell curve of aging, anomalies that don't fit the standard biological narrative. Researchers have long observed patterns among these individuals: lower incidence of heart disease, surprising resistance to cancer, and an uncanny ability to avoid neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's. Their bodies appear to have defenses that the rest of us lack. The question is why? Lifestyle versus genetics. Whenever the topic of longevity arises, lifestyle inevitably takes center stage. Diets rich in vegetables, strong social connections, regular physical activity, and low stress levels have all been credited with extending life. Indeed, the so-called blue zones, regions with high concentrations of centenarians, seem to prove that how we live matters tremendously, but lifestyle alone cannot explain everything. For every disciplined yogi or plant-based eater who dies young, there is a whiskey-drinking, bacon-loving centenarian who outlives their doctor. Something else must be at work, and more, science points toward genetics. Twin studies provide compelling evidence. Identical twins, who share the same DNA, often show strikingly similar lifespans, regardless of whether their environments diverge in later life. This suggests that our genetic makeup sets an upper boundary on how long and how well we can live. Lifestyle might help us approach that ceiling, but genetics may ultimately determine where that ceiling lies. Scientific studies: genetic clues. Over the past 2 decades, researchers have intensified their search for genetic signatures of extreme longevity. Genome-wide association studies, GWAS, have compared the DNA of Super-Agers to the general population, hoping to identify protective variants. One gene that often emerges in these studies is APO, well known for its role in Alzheimer's disease. Most people carry one of 3 variants: APOE2, APOE3, or APOE4. The APOE4 variant dramatically increases risk for Alzheimer's, while APOE2 appears protective. Not surprisingly, APOE2 is disproportionately common among Super-Agers. Another intriguing player is the FOXO3 gene, linked to stress resistance and cellular repair. Variants of FOXO3 are associated with increased longevity across multiple populations. This gene influences pathways like insulin signaling and oxidative stress response, both critical in slowing down cellular aging. Telomeres, the protective caps at the ends of chromosomes, also enter the picture. Typically, telomeres shorten with age, acting like a biological clock that eventually triggers cellular senescence. Yet in some Super-Agers, telomeres appear unusually long or protected, suggesting mechanisms that slow the ticking of the genetic clock, but it's not just one or two genes. Longevity is a polygenic trait, meaning that many small genetic advantages accumulate to produce large effects. The secret code of Super-Agers is likely a mosaic of dozens, if not hundreds, of beneficial variants working together. Brain resilience and cognitive longevity. Perhaps the most fascinating aspect of Super-Agers is not just their physical health, but their cognitive vitality. Neuroimaging studies have revealed that Super-Agers retain thicker cortical regions, especially in the anterior cingulate cortex, compared to typical elderly adults. This region is critical for memory and attention, suggesting their brains resist the shrinkage that normally accompanies aging. Why does this happen? Again, genetics may provide answers. Certain variants related to synaptic plasticity and neuroprotection appear enriched in Super-Agers. These may allow neurons to withstand toxic protein buildup, maintain connectivity, and regenerate more effectively. Interestingly, lifestyle may interact with these genetic gifts. Many Super-Agers remain mentally active, reading, socializing, solving puzzles, or learning new skills. The combination of a resilient brain and constant stimulation may create a feedback loop that preserves mental sharpness far beyond the expected limits. Physical health and disease resistance. Super-Agers also exhibit surprising resistance to chronic diseases. Heart disease, cancer, and diabetes, all leading killers in older age, occur at much lower rates among them. Their immune systems appear more robust, capable of fighting off infections and controlling inflammation, even at ages when most immune systems have weakened considerably. Genetic factors likely underpin this resilience. Variants influencing cholesterol metabolism, inflammation pathways, and DNA repair mechanisms have all been implicated. For example, some centenarians carry unique versions of genes that regulate lipoproteins, keeping their cholesterol profiles unusually healthy despite diets that might otherwise raise risk. Moreover, their bodies seem better at handling cellular stress. When exposed to oxidative damage or metabolic strain, their cells activate repair systems more effectively. This suggests that Super-Agers are not avoiding damage altogether, but rather managing it more skillfully. Epigenetics, more than just DNA. But here's a twist: having the right genes might not be enough. Epigenetics, the chemical modifications that control how genes are turned on or off, plays a crucial role in longevity. Two people can carry the same genetic sequence, yet age very differently depending on how those genes are expressed. Epigenetic clocks, which measure biological rather than chronological age, often show that Super-Agers are biologically much younger than their birth certificates suggest. Their patterns of DNA methylation, histone modification, and microRNA activity create an internal environment that slows aging. What controls these epigenetic changes? Both inheritance and environment. Super-Agers may inherit favorable epigenetic tendencies, but their lifestyles, low stress, strong communities, healthy diets, could reinforce those advantages. This combination of nature and nurture may be the real secret sauce of longevity. Cultural and environmental influences. While genes form the blueprint, culture builds the house. Super-Agers are often found in tight-knit communities with deep social bonds. Isolation and loneliness, by contrast, are major risk factors for early mortality. Diet also matters, not as a fad but as a cultural tradition. Many long-lived populations eat plant-based diets rich in antioxidants, fiber, and healthy fats. They don't avoid food groups in the modern sense, but rather eat what their ancestors ate, simple, fresh, and seasonal. Exercise in these regions is rarely exercise as we define it. Instead, it is woven into daily life, walking to markets, gardening, or tending animals. These moderate, consistent activities keep bodies moving without the wear and tear of extreme fitness regimens. Thus, even if genetics provide the foundation, culture and environment determine whether that potential is fully realized. What this means for the future of humanity. If we can decode the genetic signatures of Super-Agers, the implications are profound. Imagine a world where we could identify protective variants and develop therapies to mimic their effects. Drugs that replicate the action of FOXO3 or enhance telomere protection could revolutionize medicine. Gene editing tools like CRISPR may one day allow us to insert longevity-associated variants into our own DNA, but the ethical questions are just as vast as the scientific ones. Who gets access to these therapies? Would extending life for some widen social inequalities? And what would it mean for society if most people lived to 120 or beyond? Still, the pursuit continues, driven by the tantalizing possibility that the fountain of youth is not a myth but a molecular reality. Super-Agers represent living proof that aging does not have to mean decline. They are walking evidence that life can be stretched, not just in length but in quality. Conclusion: the wonder of hidden DNA secrets. So, do Super-Agers hold hidden genetic secrets? The evidence suggests yes. Their DNA carries protective variants, their epigenetics preserve youthfulness, and their lifestyles amplify those advantages. They are outliers, yes, but they are also trailblazers, showing us what might be possible. Perhaps the most important lesson is not just in the science, but in the story. Super-Agers remind us that aging is not a monolithic, unavoidable decline. It is a spectrum, influenced by both our biology and our choices. Somewhere, deep inside our genes, may lie the code to unlock extraordinary health and longevity. The real question is, will science uncover that code in time for us to benefit from it? Or will it remain the hidden treasure of a lucky few? Either way, one truth is undeniable: Super-Agers are not just survivors of time. They are pioneers of possibility, living proof that the boundaries of human life are not fixed but waiting to be rewritten. Thank you for watching. If you found this video helpful, share it and subscribe to join our journey toward a healthier, happier life. Goodbye, see you Agian.